What is good, ladies and gentlemen? What is good, ladies and gentlemen? We are back with another episode of Wavy Football, a therapy session. I think we could call it. I think we could call it that today. I got my brother Brian here with me, back talking football again, man. How you feeling, bro? How you feeling?
I'm feeling good, even though some of the fan base seems to be like really upset for some reason, and I'm like,
Yeah,
we need to calm down a little bit.
I know. I'm seeing a lot of outrage after one game, and I slept on it. I slept on it, and I woke up and I was actually okay. I was like, you know what? This is good. This is good. We needed this. We actually needed that result. I genuinely believe that. Like, I think all of us, including myself, were very excited, as we should be, and I'm still very
Yeah,
excited. I'm
yeah,
still very excited. But I think that was a great, great, great reality check for Ruben Amorim. Like, I think he's gonna learn more from that game than if we had won 3-0, which is what I predicted that we would do. Right. I think there's so much for him to take from that game. Because I talked about this with shout out to Wasim. Like, we know these players better than he does. And that's not like a disrespect. Like, we do. We've been watching these players for 4 or 5 years. Like,
yeah.
he's just now really focusing in. He had what he was it 2 training sessions or 3 training sessions, I think it was 2. So we know more about these players than he does. So it's really, in my opinion, it's really, really good that he got to see like the frailties in the team early. Obviously, there's players in the team that, um, like Evans, Erickson, like they're obviously not going to be future players for us. But
Yeah.
the ones who are in their prime or the young players, he gets to assess them properly. So I'm happy. I'm actually very happy about what happened. I don't know about you, Brian, but what were your initial thoughts like after the game and after the dust settled? Like, where did your head go?
My initial thoughts were I like the foundation. I like the foundation compared to how we're kind of set up under Ten Hag. Man United have always struggled against teams that high press. So on Ipswich, they pressed really, really high, and they made things really uncomfortable for us. So it was a good test. But I saw us take control of the game in the second half, but we just didn't have the killers on the pitch to do anything. We didn't walk the balls in the areas that we needed to. We had over 60% possession in the second half. So the tweaks he made worked. We just, again, our attack is kind of dead. It's been dead for a while. We don't have any patterns of play and all that stuff. And that's really the hardest part of coaching, is to get your attack to be that like effective. But the whole structure, the possession, we kind of pinned them back for the most part, and they resulted to really counterattacks in the end, which I guess you might expect. But we've never really seen this United team push and pin teams back. We had the ball, we just didn't do anything with it in the second half. The first half was, players weren't pressing when they should, especially Johnny Evans was called out a number of times by the coach. And, the two temps for me didn't really work with Ganacho and Bruno. I'm not too sure if they will be the long-term temps for us, especially Ganacho. I don't think that situation suits him in a team that wants possession. Now, if he wanted to transition, okay, but he's not even that effective in transition because he makes so many mistakes. So, you're right. We know more about the players, but the thing is that he will find out a lot more detail a lot quicker than we know, right? He's going to find out so much more because he trains with them. They have footage of training, footage and data stuff that we will never probably see, and they'll have access to that information a lot quicker. So he can get up to speed like this a lot faster than, even with 2 years of watching them under Ten Hag, he will know more about them pretty quickly. So I'm not worried about that. The reality is, people are saying that, there's a mixture of two things: the personnel issues and getting used to the system. Yes, when we get used to the system, things look better. But there's certain things we can't hide away from. And I think this fan base they're trying so hard to shoehorn in certain players because they like them, and that's not going to work. That's just not going to work.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I agree with your point on obviously he's going to get up to speed quickly. Has data, he has access to data that we'll never have, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So he's going to take his time on the training pitch. Hopefully these next, I mean, the challenge is we have so many games that he's not going to have as much time to focus on the training as he would like. But I think the rotation of the players he'll see, because he's going to rotate this in midweek game against Bodo Glimt, then he'll rotate again. So we're going to see different combinations of teams for the next, like I would imagine the next few weeks, maybe even months, right?
Yeah.
Before he figures out who he really thinks are the players he can trust. But boy, oh boy, I'm not going to lie. When I saw the lineup, I was like, yikes. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, yikes. Just like in my head, I'm like, Garnacho, Rashford, Bruno up top. That's the first thing I thought to myself. I'm like,
These are like three of the players. You're like,
yeah. It's just like
you don't want to see in attacking areas at all.
3 players I don't rate. Like, to be fair, Bruno didn't play bad yesterday. Like, this is not even about Bruno. Like, because I thought he was decent, even though he was quiet.
I disagree.
So I know what you're gonna say. I know, because he didn't, like, the role that he needs to play. He needs to be receiving the ball and turning, right? He doesn't have that ability. He probably did it once. There was one moment he did where he did
it one time, and you saw how the space just opened up in the whole pitch.
Yeah, he dropped the shoulder and the space just opened up. But he's not, you can just tell it's not his strong suit. You know what I mean? So I think he completed like 90% of his passes. Like, that's just very abnormal for him, So he just wasn't I don't think he was a detriment per se, I think. But to your point, yeah, I know. Go ahead. You can explain it. I'll let you.
Yeah, he was quiet. He was quiet. And, if your number 10 is quiet on the pitch, then they're not having a good game. You can see how Odegaard is so crucial for Arsenal. Everything runs through him, De Bruyne, same thing in Manchester City. So if Bruno is having a quiet game, he's not doing what he's supposed to do. And those 2 10 positions, I've said again, you need players that are dynamic. You need players that are able to receive the ball in tight spaces, not players who are comfortable receiving the ball back to goal, right? But not just, they know what to do when the ball is in that situation. They receive the ball, they know how to turn, they can turn players inside out. Because what that does is, if you have a tricky player like that, it makes the person that is pressing start asking themselves a few questions. Do I want to risk pressing this guy because he's going to get away from him and there's so much space behind me? But because they know, Garnacho, oh yeah, Bruno, well, we can press them. That's not an issue. They press the life out of us. But imagine if you had players like Morgan Rogers or Matthias Cunha in that position. You're telling me the people pressing are just, they'll be asking themselves questions. Should I go up and press this guy because he might spin me? And that's what we don't have in our team right now.
I think we do have it, though. I think the issue is there's players who have tech, but may not have that athletic dynamism, right? Of Rashford, his dynamism. I don't even see it like that anymore.
It's gone, man.
There's a couple moments yesterday where I'm like, yo, his pace is just gone. And then even Garnacho, he's also viewed as a PNP dynamic player, right? I don't view him as that personally, but that's kind of his profile, right? Yeah. I think what he needs to do is sacrifice that for techie players, bro. Play Menu, play Ahmad in those.
Menu and Ahmad as the 2 10s.
Just do it. Just do it.
Yep.
And we might, and for me, Ahmad is plenty dynamic enough. That run he made, first of all, I rewatched the run. There's no way he should have been able to do that. He's a crazy player. Like, he's actually a crazy player. Amad Diallo. Like, that run for Rashford's goal is unreal. Like, it's actually crazy. So I think he'll learn this, though. I think he'll figure this out. I think he'll figure this out where Ahmad was too far away from goal yesterday, right?
He really was.
I thought he played really well, but he was just too far. Like, I don't want to see Ahmad passing it back to Onana. If he's doing that, he's probably a bit too far from goal. You know what I mean? So what were your thoughts on maybe just, for instance, like Dallo at left back, Diallo at right wing back, Rashford at number 9, like just some things. What were your overall thoughts on where he positioned some players?
I think a lot of it was, he's within his rights to try certain things, especially to see the extent of how talented his squad is. And listen, Ahmad is very talented. He can play a number of positions and look comfortable, but he has to play in one of the 10 positions because he has the skill to do it. There's no one else. And I listen, he wants to respect Bruno Fernandes. That's all well and good, but Bruno just not best in that position. He just isn't. Ahmad for me has the skill to turn, has this ball, he has the ability to carry. He's dangerous, knows how to find a pass, he can score goals. He needs to understand the way a wing back translates in the Portuguese league, it's not going to translate here in the Premier League, where he's going to be able to have them high up, basically a winger. That's not going to work in the Premier League. I kind of warn people about this. The wing back role is going to be very specialist because you need a certain kind of player that has the ability to get up and down, defend really well, and is also really fast. Because in the Premier League, you're going to have teams that push you back, and that 3-4-3 is going to start looking like a 5-3-1 or for whatever formation. You're going to start having 5 at the back instead of 3. So he needs a certain kind of player to play in those positions that has the physicality to get up and down, but also defend really well. And that's not Ahmad. I'm sorry. Ahmad is best used inside as one of the 10s.
Yeah.
Garnacho, not for me. In my opinion, people are not going to like to hear this, but we've effectively removed Garnacho's potential position in this team. There's no place for him. He's someone we need to sell to finance buying more players.
Yeah, I think we can get 25-30 mil from Garnacho.
I think we can get more. I think we can get 50 million for him. If I'm being honest with you.
I'm sorry, no one's doing that.
Look at it. Let's be real, because he's very young. He's Manchester United's current highest goal scorer, right? He has a lot of hype around him. I think if this is a club, listen, we sold Alanga for what, 15? And Alanga never had these numbers. For me, I would say we can get 50 million from him. There's someone in there will pay 50 million for Garnacho. People are going to be like, "Oh, that's crazy, that's great," but that's realistically, if you look at his value in all these websites that they track player valuations, his numbers are actually way higher than that in terms of valuation. So for me, fans might not rate him, but I'm telling you, there are clubs in Europe that rates Garnacho and what he brings. He might not be the best in the Premier League, but if you go somewhere else like Spain that is slower, even in Italy that's much slower, he will put up numbers. Guys, don't just look at it like I don't rate Garnacho, but he will be able to get, you'll be able to get 50 for him. I'm being dead ass serious. Like Manchester United will not sell Garnacho for less than £50 million.
Yeah, so, no. We'll see. I hope you're right. Listen, I hope you're right.
They probably wouldn't sell him, but for me, he's not really a wing back and he's not really a 10. So where are you going to play him? That's where ruthless recruitment needs to come in. Like you need to be able to okay, this guy doesn't work, let's get him out. Rashford has the same problem. He's not really a 9. He's an inside forward. And the 10 is not an inside forward. It's more of a midfield role.
Facts.
So he's not going to be very effective in that position. That's another player that we should sell to finance bringing in more attackers. Bruno Fernandes. I have said this before so many times. Bruno is not a number 10. He's not number 10, but we've played him there. But unfortunately, he's another one that we need to sell to finance the squad. But this is where Ineos, for me, need to take that next step and be like, listen, remember when Manchester City were redeveloping and you're bringing all these star players in and all that stuff? The people who were really good then, they started selling. For them, who were their key players in the team, they sold. So Manchester United need to do the same thing. I don't know why this is so controversial. People are.
We haven't seen the club be ruthless. So obviously it's a new regime, and that's fair, right? But as much as I rate what they've done so far, I'm not 100% confident they're that ruthless yet. Like, we have to see, especially in the trend. Like they did a really good job. I think they did it like right around 20 deals in the summer, right? So they moved players, like they did a lot of things, but controversial moves like Man City sold Cole Palmer. Like, do they have that ability to do that? Like, you know what I mean?
It seems that we don't even have a Cole Palmer unless
we don't have a Cole Palmer.
We're on a
lesser. I'm just talking like on a lesser level, right? Obviously, we're not Man
What it
City.
would be like? Would be like Manchester City selling Sancho
No,
or
because he
letting
never he
Sancho
never he
go.
never played for he never played for them. Like he never like
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
but
Like Cole
people
Palmer
like
got
that.
some games.
Yeah, but like, yeah, he got some games, but like, he's more so like you're letting go of someone that people deem very talented, right?
Yeah,
Someone like Garnacho. And he's
yeah.
played a lot of games for us where he probably shouldn't have played as much games for us, if I'm being totally honest. But he's played a lot of games for us. And for me, people are like, well, they see him as this next Cristiano Ronaldo, the next number 7. And I'm telling you, the club actually have a mind that would want to buy him and would pay 50 million for him is Atletico Madrid. I actually think they would. One,
I
he's
would,
from the
I would,
academy.
I would love to
He's from
see
the
that.
academy. They've paid a lot of money for young players before,
Yeah.
right? And in their minds, they're like, this guy could be the next Cristiano. If you put him on the market, I think they will go for it. I think they'll go
I
for it.
would, I would love that. I would take
But
20 million, right? But yeah, no, like it's we'll have to see, man. And listen, I'm not, another reason I'm not too stressed because that lineup we saw yesterday is nowhere near
Mhm.
our best 11. Like nowhere near. Like Johnny Evans isn't going to be playing in that back line. Even though I rate Johnny, he had a tough game yesterday, but he's not going to be a regular starter. Obviously, Christian Eriksen, I don't see him as a regular starter. I think Ahmad will eventually move into one of the number 10 roles. I genuinely believe he'll see that and make the switch. Shout out to Saeed in the chat, man. Shout out to Saeed in the chat. And then obviously, like the likes of Garnacho too. Like their time is limited, bro. Like I genuinely believe all these like their time is limited. There's no way this man he wants to play possession football. I already saw
Yeah.
some people tweeting yesterday. Oh, we're parking the bus against Ipswich. Okay, I see. I'm like, come on, y'all. Like, come on. Like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here?
We were not parking the bus against Ipswich. We were trying to control the game. And when you try and control the game, do you know what you don't do? Is you just flood what Ten Hag used to do, right? You would flood so many people forward, right? And would get exposed. We would have considered way more goals if this was Ten Hag, if I'm being totally honest
Oh,
with you.
absolutely.
We would have 6, 7 players up the pitch and no way to, defend properly.
Yeah.
That's because you defend as a team and you
I don't
attack
think
as a
we were
team.
off. I don't think we were that bad defensively. Obviously, they had the two big chances that Onana made big saves on. But other than
Well,
that,
I think the defending was more so human error. The chances they got was
yeah.
clearly human error because Evans, he funny enough, out of the most experienced defenders, he struggled the most with the 3-4-3. He didn't know when to step up, and that was really what they were exploiting constantly with Hutchinson.
It was
Evans
just
was the one
space.
that was meant to step up, and he wasn't. Now that
Yeah,
was the issue.
those outside center backs need to have, I think and shout out to Wasim, he pointed this out. Like, I think if Johnny's gonna play, he has to play centrally, right? Like, I don't think he can cover that space because obviously when Diallo's pushing up, the weakness is where Johnny Evans is, or the space is where Johnny Evans is gonna be, right? So you don't want Johnny Evans at this advanced age, you feel me, isolated like that. This will eventually be Luke Shaw or Lisandro Martinez, right? It's gonna be those two just fighting for that position. I genuinely believe that, right?
Yeah.
On the other side, I think it'll be Yoro and Mazraoui, right? Playing, at
That's
that
fair.
right center back position, right? And then we'll just have to wait and see for the others. But yeah, it's obvious. Like this is not anywhere near the finished article, bro. Like nowhere near the finished article. So we just have to wait and see. What were you saying, real quick? What were you saying about? What are your thoughts on, Ugarte not starting, and when he came on for Casemiro and not Ericsson. What were your thoughts on that?
I think Casemiro got tired. And he was another one that was struggling to kind of go around the pitch, and he wasn't fully committing. I think Carragher showed that in his analysis today that he wasn't going on and pressing. Again, people are going to be like, "But Ineos, their recruitment was shit." If there's anything that Ugarte is good at, is pressing forward and knowing how to win the ball back high up the pitch, which is what Amorim wants. Okay, this is the player. You could literally see Amorim on the side of the pitch telling Casemiro, "Go forward, go press high up," and Ugarte, and that's not Casemiro's game. So he's not going to be able to do it. Casemiro doesn't want to be exposed, unfortunately for him. And Ericsson just had a horrible game. This is one of his worst games I've seen from Ericsson. Again, does Amorim wants super ball playing players in the center of the park? I think he wants people who are competent, right? But he also wants people who are physically capable of covering space,
Right.
right? Not necessarily this like super high dueling players, but he wants people who are constantly pushing, pressing, constantly repeating that pattern. And that's what you see from someone like Ugarte. He'll go, he'll do the press. Because what he does is he's cutting that passing lane. He's making the opposition choose another passing option. Casemiro is not doing that. Then that passing option is constantly open. So the team can't push forward. But Ugarte does that. And when he came onto the pitch, you saw it. He was constantly in the right places to shut them down from counter-attacking and having that extra space. But he really didn't play because I think he played 2 international games. I
Yeah.
think he would have started this game if not for that, in my opinion.
Right.
So
Yeah. Well, I'm so fascinated to see how these lineups change, going forward. Like it's gonna be so interesting. Because I do trust that this manager is gonna figure it out. Like I
oh yeah,
trust because there's no way he was happy with yesterday. I'm sure yesterday he
no.
was like, oh wow, okay, so
He already said it in his press conference,
yeah.
basically. He already pointed at everything. If he
Mhm.
wants, I think for us, Ugarte needs to play. Casemiro, in my opinion, needs to play because Ericsson's ball progression is good, but Casemiro's ball progression is also really good too. I'd
Mhm.
rather have Casemiro and Ugarte who have a very good connection between them to play in
Right.
those 2 central positions,
Right.
right?
I
And
hope
if you
I
think,
hope he sees that.
yeah, I hope he sees that too because I told people Ugarte and Casemiro together is the one thing we can't displace in this team right now, right? If you want to upgrade on them in the summer, that's perfectly fine. But Ugarte is necessary for this system, and Casemiro is just necessary for the team overall because he adds a number of things we don't have. He's very good aerially. He can win crosses. He can score goals, and
Right.
he can progress a ball, right?
Mhm.
Yes, sometimes he always goes for the long ball, and maybe he needs to. That can be talked to him to kind of change that. That was very Ten Hagian style of plays. Go for
Right.
that long pass, but he progresses the ball really well. I would still give Casemiro some time with Ugarte before saying no, we should play somewhere else over him. And the 210 positions we've already talked about it. Menu and Ahmad are the 2 best players to play in that role. And this is gonna Manchester United fans are gonna go crazy. You're not playing Bruno Fernandes. I'm like, I just don't think Bruno is good for the roles. I just don't see where he play unless you want to play him next to Ugarte. I don't see him playing in the 210s.
Mm. Yeah, no, 100%. Speaking of Bruno, he dropped into that number 8 position yesterday next to
Ugarte, he played
Ugarte.
next to Ugarte, yeah.
Next to Ugarte. Do you think that's his future? Do you think that's where he's going to end up?
That's the only place he has a future.
Yeah.
Only place he has a future because he has time and space there,
Mm.
right? To pick a pass. And if Bruno can be disciplined, that's really the only place he can play. We don't need Bruno close to goal for what Bruno does, right? We really don't. He
Yeah.
picks passes. That's what he does.
The
So we don't need him playing as the number 10. That's not what we need in that position.
Amorim mentioned he's like, we can play Bruno at 8, but sometimes he'll get too, we might
He
worry
gets
too
too
much about it.
giddy.
Yeah, it gets too
Yeah.
giddy with the long ball. Like he called Bruno out. He was like, "Yeah, bro, you play too many Hollywood passes." Obviously, I'm paraphrasing, but that's pretty much what he said.
The people who have been saying this for years should feel vindicated
Yes.
because people have been talking to us like as if we're crazy when we say Bruno plays ridiculous passes too much. People are like, but his pass completion was long. He's good,
Mm-hmm.
but you don't see that extra good pass because Bruno has already played that long pass, right?
Mm-hmm.
You might think, oh, good pass completion, but you also not playing the right pass is a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
even if he completed the pass, you played the wrong pass. If completed pass does not necessarily mean it's good. You might have missed 2 other opportunities where you could slow the tempo down and control the game and move the team around, but you've gone for that Hollywood pass. Like there's certain things that he needs to improve on. But I don't know if Bruno will work in that 10 position. It's just the way he plays. For Amorim, what he wants in that position is I
Yeah,
kind of warn people.
you
It's
need
not
someone
going
who
to
can
work.
play on the half turn. You need players who can play on the half turn and have that ability and look like Bruno. He's not comfortable doing that.
Yeah.
Mason. Listen, Mason Mount got a little cameo. I would not be shocked if he started.
If he
Uh,
stays fit,
if he stays
he's a
fit,
better fit than Bruno in that 10 position.
yeah, because he's played that position. That's
Yeah.
that's the best football we ever saw to Mason Mount was in that position.
Yeah. He
Literally
knows it.
for Chelsea.
Yeah.
Won a Champions League playing in that position week in, week out. So that if we can get that version of Mason Mount again, listen, that's not a world beater by any. I never thought he was this
Just
amazing.
functional. He's
Just
just functional.
a good functional player. Like those, that's very underrated. Like we struggle with having just good functional players up top, like in those positions. So if we can get that like little bit, okay, he can give us he's going to receive the ball, half turn, lay it off, progress the ball. Like if he gives us that,
You know what it
that's
is, though?
huge.
It's so frustrating because the way Ipswich pressed us yesterday, if we just made the right pass, there were opportunities. There were so many opportunities. You don't see it. You don't see it on TV because all you see is, oh my God, look how hard they're pressing us.
Yeah,
But guys,
you don't see what's behind.
you don't see what's behind. There's only 11 players on the pitch. If they are pressing you with 5, 6, 7 players, there's so much space.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much space. So we need to be braver, which Amorim said, and play through that press. Because when you do, there's no chance they can cover it, right?
Fact.
You can't cover all areas of the pitch.
Yep.
So you need players who are very comfortable in those center areas to receive the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the two central midfielder really are just decoys for passing options. They don't have to receive it.
Mm-hmm.
So the system Amorim has with 3-4-3, I really do like it. I saw some people analyzing it saying, "Oh, they has this weakness." Every system has a weakness, guys. There's no system that doesn't have a weakness.
Clearly,
it's how you coach the principles on the pitch, how you coach your press, how you coach your counter pressing, how you coach your recovery runs. That's what protects the system. Not 4-3-3 is better and 4-4-2. No, it's the principles. That's what protects the team, not the formation.
100%, bro. And I hope people understand that. It's literally, like he said something like formations aren't the end all. I think I'm paraphrasing, but he was like, formations aren't the end all be all, right?
Yeah.
It's right. Like, it's really just the principles of football. Like, he kept on saying, like, it's all kind of the same. Like, it's just how we see football, and that's okay. Like, he's gonna have to. The challenge is that he has to get results. That's the challenge because fans are so uneasy. Like we like the trust we have, the patience we have. Like we've been so bad that I think fans will be very edgy, very quickly. You know what I mean?
Do you know what it reminds me of? When Ralph Ragnick came in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I was thinking about it, and it's like, oh, Ralph Ragnick came in and he didn't owe anything to this player. So he was fully very honest on the performances. He said we lack physicality. He called out Bruno Fernandes and Fred for being soft touches in midfield. Like he's saying the same things. Anybody that's a good coach, and people are seeing it now with Ralph that, maybe he was a good coach. People were calling him out then, calling him a fraud, saying he was stupid, saying he did this, he did that. And Ralph did do certain things where he placed certain players in certain positions people didn't agree with. But as a coach, you need to be able to do this, especially when you start. So okay, how flexible is my squad? How good is my team? How can I have them? Because sometimes players interchange positions in certain situations. So people get so overly fixated with positions sometimes, but it's all about the attributes. Ahmad looked good right wing back because he has attributes of a good footballer.
Yeah,
he
he's
can
just a
play
good player.
anywhere. Yeah, he's a good footballer. But Bruno struggles. Even in that central area, he would still struggle because he lacks certain attributes. It's just about being a good footballer. Mazwari, you play him anywhere, he looks good. Why? He's a good footballer.
Facts.
Coaches love players like that because it makes their life so much easier. But here at Manchester United, we get so fixated. Why? With positions. Why? Because our players are limited. And we think, if we just play them in the right position, we'll get the best out of them. When Rooney played everywhere in our forward line, right wing, left wing, center forward, number 10. Played everywhere. There was no question about his ability. He played
Facts.
everywhere.
Facts.
Tevez played left wing. He played right wing. He played everywhere. Cristiano Ronaldo was the same. So, guys, we don't have those kind of players in our forward line, right? We
Yeah,
just don't.
we don't have those players. I saw a question here. What do you think of Delict, Temi? Him and Evans got exposed in their ball playing ability. Evans is decent. Rarely do you see him break the lines with his passing. Yeah, so on Delict, that's actually a really good question because I thought about this the other day. He is a very good defender, in my opinion. I don't think he's this amazing ball progressor, right? And
Yeah.
that, I think where we're going to get our ball progression from is from the outside center backs. Like when Luke Shaw gets in the team, when Lissandro gets in the team, when Yoro's playing, I think that's where we'll, and then we push Mazraoui into hopefully Mazraoui starts playing right wing back or one of the two wing back positions. I think that's where he needs to play personally. But, once we get those outside center backs, fixed to say, Mazraoui was fine, obviously, but I'm just speaking generally like, that's where we'll see more improvement with the ball progression. You feel me?
Yeah.
So,
Even in Sporting, his two wide center backs were the ones who were tasked with progressing the ball.
Right,
guys. The main center, one in the center of the pitch, was not really tasked with doing that. So people crashing out on the lids for not progressing the ball. He was doing his job. He was doing what he was supposed to do. Okay, the passing options were out wide, and if you get the ball out wide and you then play it into the tens, who should be able to turn the space? But we didn't do that.
exactly.
Right? The one time Bruno did it, space.
Exactly.
I don't know. It's for me, it was very clear what happened on the pitch, and I could
Yeah.
tell what he was trying to do. And actually, I'm pretty impressed with how fast he's gotten certain things across to the players pretty quickly. So that's actually a good thing.
He mentioned he's like, they were overthinking, which is true. You could tell like there was a lot of uncertainty when the ball was moving from back to like from in between the center backs. Delict didn't have the confidence to whip that ball into the number 10s. Were they showing? Were they not showing? I think it was a lack of confidence to show. When Rashford, anytime they've played it into Marcus Rashford's feet, it didn't stick. Let's be real. Like it just didn't stick. You know what I mean? So it's there is a quality issue, but I think there are players in that team who have the quality to do some of those things. So he just has to obviously we're coming off of an international break. Some players aren't 100% fit. Mainu's obviously going to get back into this team. I think Mount will get into this team. I think Yoro and Shaw or Martinez, I don't know who he's going to pick, but it's very clear, like playing Shaw right out the gate was like, oh, okay, I think he rates Luke Shaw. I think he rates Luke Shaw, but we'll see. We'll see.
He'll probably be a left center back. I don't think he's going to be a wing back. I think
No.
I'm
talking, left center back is his calling. That is, that's where he's going to be playing. No question about it. The center back isn't meant to be able to progress the ball in Amorim system. Tell me, people are just overreacting after one game. The more stressing problem is Garnacho and Bruno at 10,000%.
Yes. Please.
That's spot on.
Problem.
That's spot on. The number
Nobody
10,
wants to talk about it because the Garnacho fanboys in our fan base, and there's huge Bruno fanboys in our fan base. It was so obvious that there was nobody who was willing to receive the ball in that center of the pitch. We have two number 10s.
Yeah.
You have two number 10s. These two guys should be dictating the game. What were they doing?
They weren't. They
did nothing.
It begs the question of what can we do in January? Like, what can we actually do in January? Obviously, the chances of us making,
realistically, not much. If I'm being honest with you.
You don't think we can make one or two signings?
We could, but it wouldn't be the signings I'd want. So obviously, I'd like us to go for Matheus Cunha.
Yeah.
Let me address that point about Ugarte before I finish my point, because people like to say silly things.
Yeah.
Doesn't think Bruno can play in the system. What position? Where do you want him to play? Because as the number 10, he's going to struggle in said position. because you heard it right from McKenna's mouth. We need to not let Bruno have space. And what does Bruno struggle with when he doesn't have space? He can't affect the game. Bruno doesn't dribble. Like the opposing coach literally said, if we stop Bruno, we'll be able to play the way we want. And like, like, do people watch football? Like, it's so obvious. It's not about me rating Ugarte. Ugarte is functional in the system, right? He does what Amorim wants him to do. I don't think he's the next coming of SEN. I just think he can do what the manager wants. So if Bruno could do what the manager wants, I have no problem with Bruno playing. I just don't think he can. I don't think he doesn't, like, Bruno can't create and stuff in another team that will use Bruno's abilities. But the problem is we want to dominate possession. We want to play high up the pitch. We want to play less risky passes. Our own manager is saying Bruno is giving the ball away too much in the way he doesn't want him to. So don't come at me. Go question Amorim, because he's saying the same thing we've said for years. So at the end of the day, you can be player FC, right, and protect a player all you want. That's not the Manchester United I know. I've seen legends leave this club. Why are you so obsessed with players? If Amorim came out today and said, I want to sell Højlund, I want to sell Ugarte, I don't care. Like, why are people so fixated by players?
Yeah,
I don't understand it.
Listen, I don't rate Bruno very highly, and I don't know. Like, yesterday was a very telling thing. Like, yeah, he had a high. I thought he was okay, but it was okay under the circumstances of he wasn't giving the ball away like he normally does. So the question is, when Bruno is under pressure, what can he do? Like, that's the sign of a good player. Like, if your number 10 isn't able to turn, spin, and you don't have to have pace. I'm not saying you have to have blistering, because Mesut Ozil didn't have pace, but he could do this. Paul Scholes didn't have pace, but he could do this. So, like, it's important to, like, have players who have that spatial awareness, are able to take a touch, turn. Like, look at Amad Diallo when he receives the ball. Like,
it's night and day, man.
You can tell how good a player is when they receive the ball.
Manu is the same. Manu is the same way.
Manu's the same way. It's like when they receive the ball, they somehow have time, even though there's players around them. Like, that is how you know the difference between an average player and a proper footballer. Like, it's so evident. Like, leave the GA for a second, you feel me? And just look at what Ahmad did for that run yesterday. Bruno couldn't do that. Bruno couldn't do that in his wildest dreams. Like, he's not capable of doing it. You see what I'm saying? So that's what we're talking about here. Like Ugarte, for instance. Yeah, maybe he's not the most technically gifted
he's not
player.
the most technical, yeah.
But
exactly.
he can do a job. Like, at the end of the day, football, like, when you, like, it's all about just, hey, can you do this job, and how high of a level can you do the job?
Exactly.
It's that simple. It's really that simple. Like, there's certain players, the reason that they're at the level they're at because they can't do the job at that level. Maybe they can do the job in the Championship. Maybe they can do it in League 2. Maybe they can do it in Premier League. But Bruno Fernandes at this level is not elite at receiving the ball under pressure and turning. It's just a fact. This isn't rocket. This isn't news. Seriously, look at Omari Hutchinson yesterday. Yeah. Seriously, look at him. There's things that he's doing that Bruno cannot do, and that's not like that's just a fact. You see what I'm saying? Like, this isn't like, guys, really watch the game and watch how players, like, how they play a pass and how they receive a pass will tell you a lot about a footballer, bro. I'm telling you right now, at any position, how they play a pass, the weight of pass. Like, look at Rashford yesterday. When he would get the ball back to goal, the ball is bouncing off of him like he has Timberlands on, bro.
Oh my God. Don't get me started, Rashford.
The ball was bouncing off of him like he had Timberlands on, bro. Like, and then compare that to, like, Prime Martial when he would receive the ball. Oh my goodness. It's like the ball would stick. It's like glue to his boot. There's just differences. You see what I'm saying?
That Onana should be sold last year. I never said that. I never said Onana should be sold.
Well, yeah, when did I say that? I said he wasn't. I said he. I don't think he was. I don't think he's good enough right now. Absolutely, I said that.
I literally said, of all the positions in the team, the goalkeeping position is the last one that we need to be worried about right now. I've said that several times. I've criticized Onana,
Oh, I've criticized him heavily.
but I think he, obviously he made mistakes, but I didn't consider him someone that should be sold. So MJ, I don't know. Yeah, you've watched me on Saisa now, and please find me the clip where I say I think Onana should be sold.
Yeah, no, honestly, bro, we
Please.
watched Hutchinson yesterday outperform him. No, honestly, Omari Hutchinson's a decent player, man. He's a decent player. But again, it's like we need like a Morgan Rogers, bro. He would be so good in that position. Mateus Cunha would be good in that position. There's a lot of players who can do this job, bro. A lot of players. You feel me? So it's for me when I look at the January window, I'm more so looking at like, can we get fullbacks? Can we get wingbacks? Excuse me. I think we need, if we want to play Mazraoui or Dallo center back, we need a proper wing back.
I wouldn't play Dallo center back.
Yeah, I'm just saying, whatever he chooses to do.
Yeah, I would think Dallo right wing back is fine. Like the manager talked about it, that he's used to coming in and playing in midfield. He's kind of forgotten what it is to be a proper fullback. For me, I think he can play right wing back. I don't know why people haven't put him in that position. I don't know if it's because of the injuries in the left wing back side of things, but I can think he can play that right wing back role pretty well. He has been poor in the last few games, and he's made he's not been at a high level. But I think there's a player in Dalot there you can't really just get rid of, because he has PMP, which we lack. We severely lack PMP. He's one of the few players in that team that has it. So I would use him in the wingback role, but not on the left. On the left, he just doesn't have the passing. I think he struggles with the passing options.
Another thought. How did you feel about the inverted wingbacks?
Well, I don't think they inverted as much. I think what's
happened. I'm saying, like, I mean, the left footer.
Oh, the left footer. Okay,
the left-footed player on the right side and the right-footed player on the left side.
It's not an issue if you have the talent for it, right? Dalot is not really proficient with his left foot. He had one shooting opportunity on his left side, and he saw what happened there.
I'm not a fan of it. I'll be real. I'm not a fan of it. Like, especially when it's like, I get why they did it. At Sporting, they played a left-footed left wing back, and then Quenda was playing on the right, but he's left-footed. So there's some form of, they have a one player on one side who can whip in. Like, for me, I'm like, why do we have inverted wing? Like, I just didn't. Yeah, for me, it's not like I'm not a fan of that.
If you have the talent for it, it's not a problem, right? Mm-hmm. Because not a wing back. Ivanovic, when he played for Chelsea, wasn't a particular wing back, but he was right. Was he left or right footed?
He was right footed, but
he was right footed, but he played left back sometimes.
Sides. Yeah, he played left back. But again, that's a back four.
That's a back four.
And you still have, like, they would still, like, let's say Azpilicueta was there, he played right back, and he's right. Like, all I'm saying is, like, I get maybe if you have one player who's playing on his weak foot side, but when you have two, I just, like, we didn't put a lot of crosses into the box. You know what I mean?
And certain things won't translate to the Premier League, right?
Yeah, bro.
So I think that's one of them.
Yeah. I saw a question here. Who is your dream number 10? That's a great question, bro. Dream number 10 is probably like Jamal Musiala, bro. That's like my dream. That's like the dream. That's the dream. But like realistic number 10, I like the boy from AC Milan. He really is like an 8-10 hybrid. Reinders. From the Dutch player. I think he's cold. I thought he's been cold for a minute. This guy's not a 10, but I think he could play in this position as Kvaratskhelia. I think he could play on that left-sided 10. I think
just worry about him because he plays in a slower league. Just worry.
Yeah, but he's
technically brilliant.
It's not even a tech. He has pace, bro. He has pace, bro.
Because
he has pace, bro.
He's fast. There's fast, right? And then there's ability to get away from players. Because Premier League is PMP heaven.
Yeah, he's fat, but he's fast. But he's not like lightning fast, but he's fast enough, and he's technically gifted. You know what I mean?
I just worry
So
because even McTominay in the Italian league looks like freaking, I don't know, a marathon runner. Like
no,
nobody
he
can
looks
catch
good.
him
He
when he
looks
starts
good. But
running.
I mean, there's the translation. Like the translation is like I think it's a bit overblown. Like uh,
Eh,
the Tonali came
I
into this
like
league.
him.
He looked good. You know what I mean? He
I
looked
like
good.
him.
I
I
think proper players. I think intelligent footballers will fit into this system, bro. That's how I view it. Like if you have a level of intelligence, you can make it work. Like I don't think Kvaratskhelia will be another person like in the league. Morgan Rogers, bro. I think Morgan Rogers is cold. Like I think he's a
he
cold,
would
cold.
be a really good one as well. The thing I lack for me with Morgan Rogers is that he doesn't just score enough goals, and he tends to be quiet in games.
Mm.
With Cunha, and people will starting to see this, even when he has a quiet game, right? He comes up with an assist, comes up with a goal, he does something, he carries his team up the pitch. It's just, for me, he's just more complete than Rogers at this moment in time.
You know
And
something?
maybe Rodgers will develop more because I think this is his first season in the Premier League. But I really think Cunha is the one that, listen, I'm really worried that Liverpool are going to go for this guy. And I am hoping that's not the case. United need to make him a priority. They need to make getting Cunha a priority and play him. If you play Cunha in that left hand position and you go sort out the striker, like Cunha, he does certain things that like I don't see. I used to see like old school players do. When you try and press him, he megs you. He carries the ball, hard to stop. Like, bro,
How much you think? How much you think they're gonna let him go for?
they can't ask for too much at this point. I think his contract is running down.
Oh, is that what it
Um,
is?
Let me see. And I think you'd be very open to leaving. It's
Oh,
gonna
I
be
know.
really hard.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's gonna be really hard for them to keep him, especially if they get relegated. His decision making is has gotten better. That's one thing I would say with Cunha. His decision making has gotten a lot better.
Is it
Um,
his contract expires in 2027? Yeah, we're not gonna get him, bro.
let's-
Like
we,
they sold what's his name for how much? Mateus Nunes. How much they sell him for? 50?
50. That's not that much. It was about
Yeah, how
50,
much do you
yeah.
think they're gonna sell Cunha for?
But that's the thing is if they get relegated, they can't do much in that regard, which they're struggling right now. He's the only reason. Are they even the bottom three?
Are they in the bottom three? I don't think so. I don't think they're in the
They're
bottom three.
close though. They're very close.
Are they in the chat? Help me figure that out. Yeah, they're close. They're close. They're 17th. Yeah. So they're right
Yeah.
there
So
with Ipswich and Leicester and all of them. Yeah, no, we'll see.
yeah, he's
Um,
carrying them right now. If I'm being honest, Ipswich play better football than Wolves. So
yeah, yeah.
we'll see.
Um,
We'll see. But for me, he's so worth it, man.
yeah, I like João Pedro too, man. I really like João Pedro.
He's so worth it.
I think João Pedro is mad underrated, bro. I think he's a proper footballer. I really do.
You know why I like him? He's a good proper footballer too, but he has some weird moments where you're like, what are you trying to
Yeah,
do there?
yeah.
But he's had some weird moments where he would miss like crazy opportunity, like
Mm-hmm,
1v1, and he like misplaces it.
I
But he's
know.
gotten better this season. He's another one that I like. Listen, there's a number of players that we could bring in to improve this attack. And make no mistake, we need to improve this attack.
Yeah, the attackers are. But first of all, I've been saying this for a long time, bro. I've been saying this I've been saying our attack is mid for a long, long,
Yeah.
long time, bro. Like I've been saying that's our number one problem for a while. Like we desperately need strikers, bro. Like Xerxes and
We
Hoyland
do.
came on.
It seems
Man,
that, you know what it is? I think we need, like, it's almost the bigger issue is what supports the attack than the number 9. Because I look at Liverpool, who's their main number 9?
I mean,
Is it Nunes? It's not
it's
Nunes.
not Nunes. Is why is this what's his
Is it
Jota? Jota.
Jota? Okay.
Sorry, Jota. His name was
Okay.
eluding. I don't know why. But here's
So,
the thing though, that I don't count that because they have one of the greatest goal scorers in the
okay.
world in their team. You know
But
what I mean? Like as long as here's the thing, as long as you have either three of those positions, right? Like let's say you have a front, let's just say it's a standard 4-3-3, bro. If you have one player, it doesn't matter which one of those three it is. If you have one player who is a bona fide goal scorer, that's all you really need. That's all you really need. And then the other two can chip in. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
our
But I'm just saying,
we don't have any dynamic players. We don't have any zero dynamic players.
I agree. That's why I'm saying that people are crashing out on Højlund and crashing out on Xerxes, who are more like they're more central players, right? Look at Haaland at Manchester City. What does he do on the pitch? Doesn't do much. His job is to put the ball in the back of the net. You can go through all the teams in the Premier League. You look at even look at Brighton. Who's the player that I think is the most exciting? It's the white player. It's Mutoma. It's the people on the wings.
Yeah.
Your striker is there to put the ball in the back of the net, right? You can have a striker that's very good on the ball and that can link play, someone like Gabriel Jesus. But you look at Jesus now, who's Arsenal's star man? Is on the wing, Saka. You take Saka out of the game, that front three looks like shit, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
So again, Havertz scored goals for Arsenal. Would you want to sign Havertz and play as a striker at Manchester United? Probably not. I'm not saying Højlund is this fantastic striker or Xerxes is this fantastic striker. But our issue is our wide players. Well, in this team is going to be the white tens. They don't do nothing. Look how wasteful Garnacho is. Look how wasteful Bruno is. And when we were playing the 4-3-3 under Ten Hag, who was our two? Rashford, wasteful. Not very good, doesn't do much. Like, you're not giving the strikers anything. How many times have you watched a game where you're like, man, Højlund missed that great chance. He missed that great chance, 1v1 with the goalkeeper. Or, oh, that cross was beautiful. He messed up the header. I don't even get a chance to say that.
I hear that.
Like, for me, I get it. You guys want this top striker, but I can guarantee you, we go sign Gyökeres, right? We will have the same issues. Then people start saying, oh, he's a flop. Even someone at that higher level.
I don't agree.
Even someone at that higher level, if we don't have the 10s, you need the ball.
I think we have 10s who would be able to supply Gyökeres, though. I think if you played Ahmad and Menu there, Gyökeres would score goals.
Yeah, but we haven't even done that with the strikers we have right now. So it's hard to say if we can even. I think they can do it, but I'd like to see it. Right.
I thought about it like this, Brian. This is my take on both of them. This applies to both of them. Like I think you rate, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think you rate Højlund more than Xerxes. Is that fair to say? Is that
I think I have them at both the same level right now. For there's things I like about Højlund that I don't like about Xerxes, and the things I like about Xerxes I don't like about Højlund.
Okay.
I think both of them can contribute.
Okay, fair enough. I rate Xerxes' abilities a little bit more than Højlund's. But all that being said, right? I just asked myself this question: like, are these guys better than like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer? No, they're not. I'm so serious. No, come on, Brian. They're not. This isn't a thought. Like they are not better than him. I'm sorry.
Well, but to be fair, most strikers today are not better than Ole was.
I hear that.
If I'm being dead ass serious,
if I go to the league, I hear that. But I'm just saying, like, okay, Anthony Martial, like when he was playing at his
was not better than Ole.
No, I'm not saying better than Ole. I'm saying these two. I'm comparing him to these. I'm comparing Martial to Højlund and Xerxes now. I'm just using examples. Like these guys aren't better than those players. And these guys were players that we never thought were. Well, I thought Martial was good enough, but like number one.
Martial is a rare type of player, though. It's a different kind of player, right? Martial is not it's not really a target man. It wasn't really a number 9. He was a inside forward, right? He was more like your Mane. He's more like it's almost an unfair comparison.
But when he played number 9, he was better than them.
We still said the same thing for Martial, where like Martial was not getting service.
Yeah, but he was still contributing. Here's the thing. I think this is the point I'm trying to make. Yes, Martial, we were saying the same thing, but Martial still had a 20 goal contribution seasons, right? And his overall play was just way like he's 90, like his overall impact on the game was just way more. That's all
Okay.
I'm saying. And
Well,
when
here's
I
the thing.
so let me
Okay.
I'll and the reason I'm saying this is because like
Mhm.
we can rate them, not rate them. They're not of the level we need. That I think
I don't.
that's
I
where I'm
don't
getting at.
disagree. I don't disagree that we can upgrade on Hoyland and Zexi. But I'm telling you guys the same thing. And people will not want to listen. Oh, you're defending them. I really don't care. Right? Go buy Gyökeres. If you don't have the players around him to give him the ball in the right areas, you're going to say the same thing that I'm saying right now. He's not getting the ball. He's not getting the service. I'm telling you guys, you don't want to listen. I told you about Amorim. People thought I was talking crack. Now he's Manchester United manager. I've told you guys about Matthias Cunha. Yet you guys think, now people think he's the best thing since sliced bread. I am telling you, when I watch Manchester United, we do not give the striker the ball in the right areas. We don't. And you sign two young strikers who need coaching anyway. They need coaching anyway. Martial was a unique talent, right? Why I say it's an unfair comparison to use Martial is they're using someone that's highly talented, natural given talent, and comparing him to two players who are just maybe very functional strikers, right? Xerxes has more talents than Hoyland, but at the end of the day, you need to use him in a certain way. He's more of a system player. At the end of the day, we like the strikers, yo. I don't care who puts the ball in the back of the net, really.
I
But
don't
we're
either.
not creating the chances. We're not getting the ball in the right areas. You know, when Chelsea were having that issue with Jackson, where he was like, he's not scoring, he's not doing this and not doing that. That can be improved upon. We don't even give our players a chance to score. Garnacho gets the ball. Look at the chance where he had the ball. He needed to pass the ball to Rashford. He didn't. So how am I supposed to judge a team? You could be like, how am I supposed to judge forwards when they're not getting the ball? You need to give them the ball. That's the biggest. When Timo Werner played for Chelsea, when Havertz played for Chelsea, they missed so many chances. This Manchester United team doesn't create a lot of chances. When's the last time you watch a Manchester United and we're like, man, we just didn't have the finish today?
No, I hear that.
We created a ton of chances. Like our forward
I hear
line
that.
has been
That's fair.
shit for a long time. And
That's
people
fair.
are not going to hear that. We don't have the attacking skill. We don't have the attacking talent. Like Liverpool players can judge Nunes fairly and be like, yeah, he's shit. Why? Because Nunes gets chance after chance and he misses. When a striker is not getting the ball, they lose confidence. They don't play the way that they would like to play. I'm telling you, like,
here's my thing. You know how strikers get more chances, right? When the ball gets played into their feet, they keep it. Like even Xerxes yesterday, right? Like he was just a little sluggish to me. Like that was my like. I rate his ability, but I think like obviously it's going to take him time. Like clearly he's going to take some time to adapt to the speed of the league. Like there's just a level of sluggishness, bro. Like, and my issue is not even the goals, right? My issue is not the goals with them right now because I know that they're not getting service. My issue is for Hoyland, it's the IQ, and then for Xerxes, it's the I hope he can adapt to the speed of the league, right? Those are my two issues, right?
Yeah.
Like, and those are not goal and assist issues. Those are quality issues. Like those are like, or not even. Let me not even say quality issues. Those are for Hoyland. I think it's a quality issue. I think Xerxes. I think it's a athleticism and and a speed of the league issue. So that's why I'm so like Gyökeres, bro. He's just so much better than them. Like I just think we need. No matter what, like I just think we need that.
When you watch Gyökeres, like what the kind of chances he gets, right? Who does he remind you of? And we've talked about this before, where I was like, he reminds me of Jamie Vardy. What did Jamie? And I will agree, Gyökeres when it comes to his goal scoring is far away better than both of them for sure. But if he still comes into this Manchester United team, right, where he needs the ball, you need to give him the ball in the right areas. Like we don't even cross the ball properly, bro. We don't even put the ball in the right areas, man. Do you think he's going to score 20 goals in the league?
Who, Gyökeres?
Yeah, if we signed him next season and we didn't get the right kind of players around him.
Yeah, I think he'd be capable. I'm telling you, Brian. I think that I think that this manager will eventually get rid of Garnacho and Bruno as his number
But
10.
see,
And
we're saying the same thing,
yeah.
right? We're saying the
Mhm.
same thing. Well, you need to improve. I'm saying right now, right? We've not changed anything. We
Mhm.
put Gyökeres in this team. How many
Mhm.
goals do you think he can get in a season?
More than Hoyland and Xerxes. I don't know what the number is.
How much more?
I don't know what the number is. I would say he get okay. You know what? Okay, I'll answer the question like this. I'll touch back on your comparison question of Jamie Vardy. Yes, Jamie Vardy had service. Let's say that Premier League winning season. He obviously had the
Bro,
Riyad Mahrez,
Mahrez was balling out of
and he had all Brighton who was putting in crosses. I hear that, right? The difference is though, Jamie Vardy had an uncanny ability to score when you didn't think he could score. And both of these players, Hoyland and Xerxes, don't have that. Like if you look at let's go back to Man City versus Sporting Lisbon. That goal that Gyökeres scored, bro, our strikers aren't scoring that goal.
Okay.
Our strikers are not scoring that goal. They don't have that. I don't see any of them with that capability. I really don't.
Remember with Cavani, who did we have on these comments with Cavani? We had Pogba in the team, right? Who was creating. Cavani didn't always used to make his own goals, right? But people remember that fantastic goal he scored from halfway the pitch. Listen, Cavani was one of the greatest strikers of this generation. I am not saying that Hoyland and Zexi are that. I'm not saying that they are the top of the top. I'm telling you the biggest issue we have in this team right now, those 10 positions. I want Gyökeres. I'll be one of the first people to tell you I will take Gyökeres over Hoyland.
I think it's the number 9 position.
Yeah,
that's where I disagree. I think that's where we disagree. I think the biggest issue is if I take the players who I think are able to play that number 10 position and then juxtapose it to the players I think can play our number 9 position, I think we have better players that can play the number 10 position than we do number 9s. Our number 9 options are Hoyland, Xerxes, Rashford, right? Those are our 3. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, for right now, yeah.
If we look at the number 10s, okay, so let's use the ones who started. Garnacho, Bruno, cool. Now let's keep going down the line. We have Mainu, who can play in that position. I like that. We have Ahmad, who didn't play in that position, but we all know he'll eventually play in that position. I like that. Okay. Right? Mason Mount, as much as people don't rate him, we've seen him play that position and do a job good enough to be in a Champions League winning side. You may not rate him, but you can't take that away from him. You cannot take that away from him.
Possibly, but again, we haven't seen him play even 30 games yet. So
no, I hear that.
I hear him as an option, but not a strong one.
We have actual evidence of it though, as opposed to Xerxes and Hoyland. We don't have any evidence with those two. We have none.
I agree, but I'm very hard. Like for me, it's very hard to trust a player that's injured a lot.
I hear
just
that.
For me personally.
I hear that.
So for me, what you've done at the previous club is fantastic. But Manchester United, you and Bayern, but no things are different. So sometimes those things don't carry over. So we'll need to see. But for me, I would sign Cunha before I sign Gyökeres. People are gonna think that's crazy, but I'm telling you guys, people are like, Mo Salah scores so many goals, but Mo Salah, the things he used to do for Liverpool, I'm not saying they're on the same level, but he just used to create chaos. We don't have any player that does that. Nobody's influencing the game. You're putting too much on the striker. You need someone
not the same goal.
You need someone that can get the team up the pitch. If we don't have territory, if your 2 10s are constantly losing the ball, we're not going to get up the pitch to score a goal, bro. And I get that you're saying Ahmad and Mainu can do it. That's fine. I still think we need someone off. Listen, I love Mainu.
I agree. We need someone in that position. But if we're saying what do we need more, a striker or one of those players in behind? I think we have players in behind that can do a job. I don't know if we have a striker who can do a job. I don't know that. I genuinely do not know that. I know Rashford can't do it. And
I agree.
Hoyland and Xerxes are question marks at best right now.
There are huge question marks in it. And listen, I'm not saying these guys are world class. I'm saying it's a lot easier to sign a striker when your rest of your team is set. Now, next summer, if Gyökeres is available, go and get him. I already said this on Sai's show. If one of the best strikers in the world are available, you go buy them when you're Manchester United. But we need to address those two tens. I'm telling you, for this system to work, guys, for this system to work, we need those two tens to be at a level that is so like I don't see how we survive without those two tens being as good as they need to be. I think Ahmad can do it, but we can't rely on Ahmad a whole season. There's so much you need in those positions. You need people that work hard, that can counter press, that can carry the ball. Like Mason Mount was doing that at Liverpool, like you said, in that position. But you need someone that is even better than Mount, way better than Mount was, obviously. Mm-hmm. So for me, those two tens are crucial. If Højlund proves to be a bomb fully, or has actually proves to be a bomb fully, because your two tens are balling out of control and I'm getting him the ball and he's messing up, it becomes easy, right? But right now, you see Garnacho gets the ball. He doesn't know when to make a pass. Like, for me, I'm looking, I'm like, so hard for me to like judge the strikers in this team simply because I've seen us have, look, maybe not at their best, Ronaldo and Cavani getting the team, and these guys were not getting the ball. We don't cross the ball. It's so sad. Like we just literally do not cross the ball in this Manchester United. We don't know how to cross the ball. And I'm like, who? Let us get this team to be like super like skilled. Like I see with all the teams that we like, Brighton, Aston Villa, all these guys, they have top players. Like look at what's his name, Morgan Rogers. When he gets the ball, like you see what he does. So
yeah. Great conversation, man. Great conversation. We're gonna wrap it up. We're already over an hour, guys. This was fun. This was a lot of fun. Good debate, good conversation. Shout out to everyone in the chat, guys. Let's get this to at least 20 likes. We've had right around 50 people this whole time. Let's get to 25 likes, guys. Make sure to follow Brian on all his platforms. His information is in the description, so show him some love as well, people. We're gonna sign off. I gotta watch the Ravens game. The Ravens game is on right now, so I gotta tap. But
I got you.
Yeah. No, but appreciate everyone as always. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Appreciate everyone. We're gunning for 900. We're gunning for 900 subs, man. We're gunning for 900 subs. You feel me? So we much love to everybody who was in the chat having fun with us. So hit the like button, everybody. Hit the subscribe button. Let your friends know about the channel as well. We're trying to grow and support Brian as well on all his platforms. We'll talk real soon, people. All right.
Thanks, guys. See you later.
See you guys. Deuces.